greening in urban areas more than the rural areas is the priority of the government at this point of time. So in Chennai, a huge number of trees have been planted, but again, not the kind of just the plantation and leaving it, but this time in a very different manner.
The forest actually belongs to communities. That's the fact. The forest belongs to communities. Why would an Adivasi go into a forest and destroy the forest when their food, their life, their livelihood, their culture, their being, everything revolves around that forest? Why will I go and destroy that?
Open the floor for questions to Priya, to Supriya ma'am, anyone please.
Hi, I am Divya. One of the questions as a resident in Chennai is that how is the infrastructure in Chennai thought about in terms of availability of resources, including water, underground or otherwise, and also in terms of livability. The question of livability arises in the sense that in IT corridor or so, there are so many buildings coming up, but let's say I live in a particular area. What is the capacity that it can hold in terms of extraction of water? What is the capacity of air pollution it can sustain? What is the for the air quality and so on, and also the heat island effect. In that sense, can the government look at something where locally it can be informed to people so that they are locally aware and at least they can make decisions? At least, personal decisions also can be influenced that way if they are locally aware of the capacities of individual places, local places. In that sense, let's say Velachery Taluk or something. That level is something I'm interested in knowing from Ms. Supriya Sahu ma'am.
Thank you very much. We have recently released this report, which is the Climate Action Plan for Chennai, which has been a document which has been prepared only with a lot of discussion with the housing societies, the vulnerable communities. It has been a document in the making for more than 2 years. So this document has been released. It's a document which actually says what steps would be taken when it comes to water. It also gives you the inventory. It also gives you the greenhouse gas inventory. You can look up this document on the website of the Greater Chennai Corporation. It's available. And you asked a very important question about what a local community should be doing about, say, an island effect, or about the kind of greening of the building or cooling off that building. So this, the document has just come out. The action plan needs to be rolling out very soon. So there are 2 things that we are doing. One, working with the societies, the resident welfare associations, and I think Priya also knows about it. We're trying to see, these are the 3 or 4 things that the resident welfare associations can do to kind of reduce the heat island effect that you spoke about. But a massive greening in urban areas more than the rural areas is the priority of the government at this point of time. So in Chennai, a huge number of trees have been planted, but again, not the kind of just the plantation and leaving it, but this time in a very different manner, where tall seedlings with the focus on survival and the local community taking care of it, for maintenance. So those are the small things. Chennai Corporation has also embarked on the clearance of the legacy waste, which is at, we know that Perungudi and all these places, where the legacy waste is next 1 year is going to be completely over. Also, the third thing, I spoke about the bio-CNG, collection of the waste. So you would see that most of this waste is now kind of not yet 100%, but a lot of effort to kind of segregate it and create. So there is a setup here which makes bio-CNG out of these, and the gas is going to the various hotels. So it will take a bit of a time, But yes, and solar rooftop also is, thank you Priya for reminding me. So a kind of a network of organizations which will work together has already been kind of done, and I think it's a long way to go, but the action plan that we have for Chennai is already set. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, you said that community resources, women do not have a bigger hand on that, but men do have a hand on it. But I just want to know how this community forest thing works, because you also said that local groups should have a hand over it. But will there be any inspection kind of thing if these local groups have a bigger hand on these community forests, and if they try to do something illegal work, if they try to do any illegal work, what will it result to? And can you just give a gist on how this will work on completely?
Interesting question. So there's a law in this country called the Forest Rights Act. This law was passed in 2006. It started getting implemented in 2008. The interesting thing about this law is that it's a law that got passed after many years of struggle by indigenous communities, Adivasis, and other forest dwelling communities in the country. Not just from one part of the country, every part of the country. So this was like a call for many years. And there's a reason, like you just said, that illegal use by community. I can give you many examples where it's a myth that communities, use forests and common pasture lands illegally. Communities have a they have a hereditary right over this land. So historically, before the Indian Forest Act came into being, the Britishers when they came over, the forest actually belongs to communities. That's the fact. The forest belongs to communities. The Britishers came in, and there's a lot of political thing, I don't have that much of time, I won't go in depth, but we know why the forests came under the forest department, and why the forests were taken away from communities, and why it became illegal for communities to enter forests or common areas. This is something that belonged to them. So to say that it's illegal for they will do something illegal it's a social construct, that communities go and destroy forests, communities go and destroy pasture land or common land. It's a narrative that's been built over years by lots of people, including large companies. If you look at the Central Indian belt, just take a few states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, parts of Maharashtra, West Bengal, where you will find there is an overlap of indigenous community habitats, that is Adivasis. There are Adivasis in the northeastern part and the western Ghats, but prominently in the Central Indian belt you will find Adivasis. There's an overlap between forest land, Adivasi habitats, as well as huge companies that mine iron ore, coal, bauxite. So these companies came in, they in fact illegally take over. So when I refer to Singrauli district, SR and Hindalco in their joint venture were proposing to mine out 1,182 hectares of forest land. And when I say mine out, it means like how is the mines in India are all open cast. It means that you go into a region, you cut out the entire forest, you remove the top soil and create what is called an overburden, which is an artificial mountain of waste, because the coal seams are below the earth. So what you create is like a big crater which out there, right? And in that process you destroy the entire biodiversity of that region, you snatch away lives and livelihoods of communities who've historically depended on those forests. We know that there is a very strong narrative that has been built which says that the communities are destroying forests, the communities are the people who are creating all this destruction. But you look at statistics and data, it's not communities. In fact, communities, why will I destroy something that my life depends on? Why would an Adivasi go into a forest and destroy the forest when their food, their life, their livelihood, their culture, their being, everything revolves around that forest? Why will I go and destroy that? Would I just go and raise down my house? I wouldn't, right? So this is a narrative that's been built over years in this whole sphere with, and by companies and capitalists to say that indigenous communities, why? Because they hold access to, they don't have access, they were taken away, and now there is the community forest rights. So the Forest Rights Act is a law which gives two kinds of rights. One is the community forest rights, which a Gram Sabha can claim over the, in the forests around there with their villages. And there are individual rights that go to individual households or people who've been historically inhabiting that law. So there is a law. There is a law that gives you the right to claim that forest. And that right includes governance of forest, it includes protection of forest, it includes rights of collecting minor non-timber forests like honey, like mahua, tendu, firewood, and basically living their lives peacefully. So it's a myth that communities destroy forests. That's a myth that's been constructed actually.
Thank you so much to both the panelists. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.